and welcome to an episode of Astrology with Jeffrey Bryan. Today I'm going to take you on a journey through the cycles of reincarnation, how we incarnate into the world, into our astrology chart, and how we go through cycles of planning in connection with our astrology chart, and how we ascend and descend through the cosmos and then come back from all these stages of planning, how we incarnate back into the physical world for our lifetime. So let me share the chart. So the cosmic cycle of reincarnation. We are our chart. So here we have the entire astrology chart. This is every human being's makeup. We are all the houses and we are all the planets in there. And all the stages of planning in our lifetime through the ascension and descension process, through the planetary and heavenly bodies. And we come down, and at the time of our birth, we become this chart where the planetary aspects push us to evolve and grow in good ways and in negative ways, because that's what our soul and our consciousness needs and wants to evolve, even if our ego self hates going through the experience or becomes depressed, suicidal, or even good things, happy, or even sadness. These are all experiences that the soul is wanting so it can push itself in different directions. Sometimes we have a handicap or we go through lots of life tragedies. These are all things that the soul has been planning for its own growth and evolution. So how is this possible? What's going on? So this is the chart, like a archetypal astrology chart, where we have Aries here at the ascendant. So notice I've got this blue triangle going. So these are all water elements. So here we have in the fourth house, we have Cancer, and that's the house of home. The moon represents the soul or the subconscious mind. So this home is in the water element, which is like we're coming from the spiritual realm as we're ascending. The spirit realm is water. And then we have here the 12th house this is the house of the source. This is ruled by Neptune, Jupiter, the vision of the source or God that our soul has planned for many lifetimes. And it's in connection with the house of Scorpio, which is death and regeneration. What are we doing when we reincarnate? We're dying and we're regenerating into the spiritual world. When we come back down, we're being reborn into a new life, into the physical world, all coming from the spirit realm or of water. So why this 8th house is ruled by Mars, Pluto. So Mars is will or action, and Pluto is divine will or action. So Pluto represents the Kundalini, or it's an evolutionary life force energy. So when we meditate, we activate the Kundalini energy so we can transcend and go back to source. So this is how this process works. So our soul, which is our home in the spirit world and in the physical world, our soul is our home. We come up with this plan of our lifetime with the source. And through evolution, this Plutonian energy is the driver of consciousness to move through. And there's what's called Fohat. Fohat is the electrical impulse that drives consciousness. And this consciousness is able to move between realms of different spiritual realms and into the physical realm. So we see the red line here as our soul comes up with this plan with God. The evolutionary life force comes in and drives us from the spirit into the physical world. Now, this line is an inconjunction, or what we call a quincunx, which is a crisis. So the crisis point is, oh my gosh, we're coming from this freedom of no body. We have this expansion of consciousness, and now it's becoming focused. And as we ascend into this, at the exact time we are born, is our life mission and all the character, and it sets the chart. The time sets the chart of our life course of who we are and what we're here to do. So several people talk about this chart here. So this is the astrology chart in connection with the sine wave. So the sine wave goes from this equator point up to the Tropic of Cancer, down back to the equator, down to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then back up. So this is showing astrology's primarily done on a horizontal plane. This is showing it in terms of declination, which is the vertical plane. So we see here the vertical. So this is the daytime, the diurnal side, and this is the nocturnal side. So on Earth, the equator marks the middle of the Earth, and as we see here, the Cancer here is at the top, the Tropic of Cancer. So this is where we ascend up from physical. When we die, we ascend through back up to the moon. That's the first place where we drop off our karma. You'll see here, Capricorn is Earth ruled by Saturn. Saturn is what drives us into incarnation because it's stuff we have to deal with based on our karma. And Saturn is the Lord or planet that's going to make us do that. So on top of all of this, I want you to understand that our bodies are all physical while we're here, but there's this other world, of this other spiritual world in which makes up all of us. And this is seen through the chakras and the dimensional realities here. So we have the physical. That's how we are now as we look at ourselves in the mirror and all the things we go through. But we are the etheric, which you can see through the subtle bodies and the aura. And then we have an astral world where we go when we sleep at night. It's the level of picture consciousness. And then we have these lower mental, higher mental types of thinking. Like we have lower concrete, practical thinking, how we do our everyday life and the chores and all the things we do, like brush our teeth, comb our hair, and all this lower thinking. Then we have this higher evolved type thinking. And then we have these higher spiritual planes of the Buddhic and the Atmic. Now, these are inner planes. So we go from the physical and we go back to source, or we can say the source penetrates from the source through the dimensional realities here. So we see we have the physical, the etheric, the astral, the lower mental, higher mental, Buddhic and Atmic. That's 7 universal dimensional realities. And within each one of these dimensional realities, we have subplanes. So like a couple of them are, we have like the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, and all these different kingdoms within each plane as it penetrates back to source, or we can say the source is creating throughout. So the spiritual world is omnipresent, meaning this is all happening in the now moment. Now, this now moment of the spiritual to the physical is also transcendent. So when we go into like meditation or spiritual practice, meditation, we can transcend this physical world, this physical body, and go back to the source. And if we use mantras, which is the science of sound, we can go to any of these dimensional realities through sound vibration. We can attune our consciousness there. But the big thing here is, I want everyone to understand, is everything is an inner world. When we die and when we come here, it's all connected, and it's all part of this planning into the incarnation. And so this is the wheel or the wheel of life. And so here we go. This shows us the pathway of the chakras and the pathway of ascension through the planetary bodies. So here we have the moon, then we move to Mercury. So this is the chakras as well. The moon's the first chakra, and this is the planetary way we ascend and descend through the planets. So we have the moon, Mercury, Venus. Then we go to the center, the heart chakra is the sun, throat, Mars, and then we move over to Jupiter, the third eye, and we move to Saturn. So these all are the planetary bodies that the pathway we travel. So as I said, those are chakras. That's also how the planetary bodies go as we ascend and descend up into the body, or out of the body up into the planetary heavens, and then back down into the next incarnation. So this is just an image showing the energy bodies. So we have the physical body, and then the etheric body is this blue line. So it looks thin because it's like there's like a white outer etheric body, and then there's the aura that expands out. But even though some people can see this, it's still a finer inner dimensional reality than the actual physical body. So this is like how everything became manifest. It was a subtler and subtler and subtler form that finally solidified into a physical manifestation. And these all still exist throughout even though they're fine, it still exists in the physical, and then it exists in the finer and finer forms going back out. And so not all of these are physical or even like bodily, but like the mental thinking, those are different realms in our consciousness as well. So every cycle of life can be seen through astrology. The karmic cycles of death and rebirth pertain to our earthly and spiritual karmic seeds we've sown and new seeds we've planted. Throughout life, we heal old negative karma, but along the way, we create new karma. And so we can see in a chart the aspect lines of what what karma we've come in with, and then as we see in positive good karma, and then we can also see as we have the transiting planets, we can see what's being activated and what's coming up in our life and what we're going to be going through, and hopefully we deal with it better because we're somewhat aware of where we're going and where we're heading, so we can plan for all these different events happening in our life. So from the inner realms of the zodiac, we plan our earthly life from these inner cosmic planes and planetary bodies. The country, state, city, your family, friends, relatives, teachers, neighbors, peers, etc., are all karmic ties to the souls we've all agreed to participate with in this life. So many lifetimes we go through with the same souls, just different bodies, different plans. Like your mom could be your dad in another life, or your sister could be your uncle in this life, or even your best friend. It's all because the souls want to experience certain things in maybe in different bodies or different scenarios. So here is the ascension process. So Aries is the beginning, it's the impetus, it's the starting point of a chart. So we start from Aries so we could be a star being out in the universe, but we come in and we ascend through the zodiac into Aries. And as we move through, we go to Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. And then, so all of this is planning for our life, going through all these different areas, this planning going in. So then we move from the signs to the planets. So from Pisces, we go to the last sign, Saturn. Then we go to Jupiter, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and then the Moon. So from the Moon, we actually get there, and that's where we pick up our karma. All this planning went into our life, and all of a sudden we get to the Moon and we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. This is a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be easy, and now I've got all this baggage with me, and it's becoming like this scary reality. And this is where we meet with Archangel Michael, and he has a really empathetic and encouraging talk with us, that yes, we can do this. And he kind of gives us this push off the Moon, and we fall down and we ascend into the physical world where we become born out of our mother. So here we have Archangel Michael pushing us down to the earth from the Moon, and we ascend into our incarnation. So from there, when we die, we go back the opposite way. So we go from Earth to the Moon, we ascend up to the Moon, and then to Venus, then to Mars, Mercury, Sun, Jupiter, and all the way back through the zodiac. It goes backwards. So it goes from Pisces through Aquarius, Capricorn, and then all the way back to Aries. So this ascension and descension process is also the rungs of Jacob's ladder. Actually, it's when we leave here, this is the process we go. So when we go to the Moon, we go to purify our mind, body, and soul. And then as we move to the second planet, we go to Mercury, which is education and healing. So Mercury is about learning and healing ourselves. The third stop along the way is Venus, which represents beauty and the principle of love, which we probably need a lot of nice things and a lot of love after going through this. And we also at Mercury, we repair our energy body from all the scars emotional scars we've gone through living life. The fourth phase is the Sun, which is the giver and sustainer of life. And this is also considered the heaven world. So I imagine this is a place where we get some rest and relaxation and recuperation. And then we move on to Mars, which is, Mars is this competitive, it wants to like fight against things or push itself. So this is where we go which we learn competition, and helps us as beings of light fight against the darkness. The sixth is Jupiter, which is intellectual maturing and judgment. And the seventh phase is Saturn, which represents the guru, sage, and wise one who has achieved perfect balance of spiritual and material laws. Saturn represents the greatest achievement. So that's why it's the last. And it's also the crown chakra, is because the greatest achievement we can attain is mastership of the physical and spiritual world. So on the physical world, it's the mastership of owning our chart, owning our life, and being a master in connection with the spirit realms, to be a master of your own life. So here, I just wanted to end this video on showing we ascended down into the incarnation. Now we're ascending back up. So the same principle, this is the top. So we're going back out at the highest point in the Capricorn, Tropic of Capricorn, which would be the lowest point. So it's showing the greatest achievement is on the earth plane is Saturn, and where we go back up in ascension, and where we drop off our negative karma and free our soul of all the garbage that we've collected in this life and had to pick up to come here. We leave that behind at the Moon. And so this is also how we exit back out the same way we came in. So we go here, we have the moon with Cancer. The soul exits back through Scorpio or Pluto. It's the consciousness mover with the faux hot energy. It pushes us back to the source in which we came in the spiritual world. Well, I hope you like this video. If you'd like to schedule a personalized astrology reading with me, please visit my website, astrologywithjeffreybryan.com. And please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.